Hello, lovely people. Welcome to Vab Fashion's YouTube channel. My name is Eunice. In this video, I'm going to be showing us how to make this beautiful one shoulder off corset. If this is your first time here, please hit on the subscribe button to subscribe and make sure to put on your notification bell so you get notified once I post a new video. With that being said, let's get right into the video. Thank you. So the measurements we need for this project will appear on our screen. So the first thing to do is to fold your paper into two, just like I have mine here. I folded my paper into two already. So to determine the width of the paper to fold, you're going to use the biggest circumference divided by 4 to fold your paper. And here I'm using the bust circumference divided by 4. The bust divided by 4 is 9 inches, so I added about 2 inches to this. So I have a width of 11 inches, so it's going to be enough. So next I'm going to draw the starting line, which is the shoulder line. So on the shoulder line, I'm going to mark half of the shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches. On this 8 inches mark, I'll come down by 1 inch to create my shoulder slant. And then on the shoulder line, I'm going to mark 3 inches. And then I'll slant my 1 inch to this 3 inches mark I have here. So these are shoulder slant. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark the bust point. So from shoulder to bust point is 11 inches. So I'm going to mark it also here. So from here also, from the shoulder to under bust line is 14 inches. 14 inches. From shoulder to half length, which is waistline, is 16 inches. So I'm also marking 16 inches. So I'll go ahead and straighten my lines. So now we have the bust line, the under bust line, and the waist line. So next I'm going to come down by the armhole measurement, which is going to also serve as the chest line. So to get the armhole measurement, you're going to divide the bust by 6 plus 1.5, and in this case that's 7.5. So here's my 7.5. So here where I have my 7.5, I'm going to reconfirm half of the shoulder measurement, which is 8 inches that I have on the shoulder line. I'll bring it down here. So this is to enable me have a straight line. So here now I have the chest line, and just square it out this way. So now the next thing to do, I want to draw the armhole measurement. So before I draw the armhole measurement, I'll enter a quarter of the bust measurement on this chest line. Quarter of the bust measurement is 9 inches. And then I'll go ahead and get the midpoint of the armhole line. I have 7.5 here. I'm just going to fold my tape into 2 like this. And then I have the midpoint here. So at this midpoint, I'm going to go in by 3/4 of an inch. So here is my 3/4 of an inch. And then I'll bring in my armhole curve and connect it. So I want to connect this 3/4 of an inch to this shoulder tip here, and then to this 9 inches I have here. So you want to place your curve correctly. Can you see that? So I'm just going to curve it like this, and then to the shoulder tip like this. So now I have my front armhole. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to mark the over bust line. So now to get the over bust line is very simple. The distance from the bust point to the under bust point gives you your over bust line, okay? So you can go ahead and add half of an inch depending on how much covered you want the over bust to be. So here the distance from the bust line to the under bust line is 3 inches. So I'm going to add half of an inch to it, so that will give me 3.5. So from the bust line, I'm going up by 3.5. So this line is now the over bust line or the upper bust line, depending on what you want to refer to it as. So now we have the over bust line. So I'm just going to label it OB. So the next thing I want to do is to mark the nipple to nipple measurement, half of the nipple to nipple measurement, because this is on fold, right? So half of the nipple to nipple measurement is 4 inches, marking the same 4 inches here, and then 4 inches here also. So I'm just going to use my straight ruler to straighten my lines. So you can see I marked it on the bust, on the bust, and then the waistline. So having done that, so now on this bust line, I'm going to come down by 3/4 of an inch. So this depends on the bust size. If you're on the plus size, you can use up to 1 inch. If you're really on the small side, you can use ½ inch. But this person is an average person, so I'm using 3/4 of an inch. So I'm going to mark 3/4 of an inch from the bust point line. I came down by 3/4 of an inch. So above the bust point line, I'll also go up by the same 3/4 of an inch. So I'm just going to extend this line to have a straight line. So you can see that 3/4 plus 3/4, that's 1.5. So now having done this, the next thing I want to do is our dart intake. So first to do that, I'm going to enter 1/4 of the bust measurement, which is 9 inches. Now to determine the dart intake for the waist, the difference between the bust and the waist is what will determine our dart intake. This is what I mean. The bust measurement is 36 inches. So 36 divided by 4, that's 9 inches. So the waist measurement is 28 inches. 28 divided by 4, that's 7 inches. So the difference between the bust and the underbust is 2 inches, because we have 9 here and we have 7 here. So the difference is 2 inches. So that 2 inches is what we're going to be using for our dart intake. So I'm going to divide this 2 inches by 2. I'll enter half of it on this side and half on this side. So I'm going to mark 1 inch on this side, and then I'll also mark the same 1 inch on this side. So that's a total of my 2 inches. I'm going to bring the same thing here to the underbust measurement. So I'm going to bring 1 inch here also on the underbust, and then 1 inch on this side. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and connect my lines like this. So I'm going to draw a straight line from here to here, and then I'll do this also from here to here. On my dart intake for the waist and the underbust line, I'm going to curve it now. So I'm going to connect this point to this point where I have my 3/4 of an inch. Remember, I came down by 3/4 of an inch from the bust line. So I'm going to just place my armhole curve like this, and then I'll curve it to meet this point. So can you see, to my 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to repeat the same thing for this side. So can you see? So now I've curved it to this point. So now we have successfully taken our darts on the waist area. So next I'll come to the shoulder line here. So from this 3 inches mark I have here, I'm going to measure what I have left, and I have 5 inches. So this 5 inches, I'll get the midpoint of my 5 inches here. And then I'm going to connect it to this 3/4 of an inch I went up from the bust line. So can you see that? So now I want to tighten the over bust. So on this side that is bigger, you can see that this side is wider than this side. So to tighten the over bust on this side, I will take 3/4 of an inch on this side. And then on this side, I'm going to take just 1/2 inch. And then I'll bring in my armhole curve and also connect the points. Can you see that? So now I've also tightened the over bust. So next thing I'm going to do now is to enter the measurements. So remember that the bust measurement is 9 inches. So I already have my 9 inches here. Then on the underbust line, quarter of the underbust measurement is 7.5. So then I'm going to measure what I have here. My dart intake here is 2 inches. So I'm replacing back the 2 inches. So here on the waistline, the waist measurement divided by 4 is 7 inches. So I'm going to replace back the 2 inches I have here. So I'm going to just go ahead now and connect my points like this. Okay. And then I'll connect it to the chest line. So you can see that the underbust came out a little by 1/2 inch. This is because the waist is smaller than the underbust. So when you do yours and it's not looking like this, don't worry. And if it is looking like this, still don't worry. Everything will come out fine. This is because the waist is smaller in this case than the underbust. I hope you understand that. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to enter my bust dart. That's the difference between the front and the back. And here, that's 1 inch. From the bust point line, I'm going to come down by 1 inch for the bust dart intake. So I came down by 1 inch from the bust point line. I'm going to connect it here to the nipple to nipple line like this. So can you see that? So this is my bust. This is the bust dart, okay? So this will be cut out. So I'm just going to come out here to indicate that there is a dart. So I'll just come out by 1/2 of an inch like this. Can you see? So that by the time we close the bust dart, we're not going to have any shortage. Can you see? So this is for our bust dart. So the next thing now we want to do, we're going to be drawing the off shoulder. Remember that one shoulder is off and the other has a full shoulder. So from the armhole line here, I'm going to come down by 5 inches. So I'm subtracting 5 inches from the measurement. So this is 5 inches here. So this 5 inches from the armhole line, I'm going to use my armhole curve like this to curve it, to connect it to the center here. This is the center front here, right? So I'm just going to curve it like this to come here. So I haven't drawn the neckline. So now I'm going to extend these dart legs to meet this point like this. So you just want to make sure that you don't do too much so that it doesn't. So I'm just going to extend it like this. Can you see? So I'm extending the dart leg now. You can see that I extended my dart legs up to the neckline here. So I'm just going to erase this part like this. So you don't want to make this too wide. So now I'm going to bring in my paper scissors and then cut out this pattern and show us how to achieve the other side with the shoulder. Okay. So I haven't cut out the shape, so this is what I have now. So now I'm going to transfer my markings to this side. This is so that I can have the side with the shoulder and this side is going to be the off shoulder. So I'm just going to fold it into two like this and then mark nipple to nipple measurement. Half of the nipple to nipple measurement here also. Marking the nipple to nipple measurement, I'll open up my paper like this and transfer my markings to extend the line. So this is the under bust line now. I'm extending it this way. The bust line, I'm also extending it. The chest line, no, the over bust line, sorry. This is the over bust line. I'm extending it also. Okay. And then this is the chest line. So I'm just going to draw this small line here. This is the armhole line. You can see that I've already cut out the armhole. This is it. So now the next thing I'm going to do now is also to repeat the same dart intake here. So remember we came down by 3/4 of an inch from the bust point line. I'll repeat the same thing here. I'll come down by 3/4 of an inch. And then I'll go ahead and mark 1 inch on this side, 1 inch on this side, and 1 inch on this side, just like we did for the other side. I'll mark the same 1 inch on this side and 1 inch on this side. I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect my lines. So having done that, I'm going to now connect it to this point where I have my 3/4 of an inch. So you can see that. So now I'm going to come here now from the armhole line. Remember that this is my chest line. You can see this small line I drew here. So I'm just going to go up from this line by 3 inches. And then here also, just like I came down by 3/4 of an inch, I'm going to also go up by 3/4 of an inch, just like I did for the other side. And then I'll bring in my armhole curve and connect it to this point. Can you see that? So this is it. So from this point where I went up by 3 inches, I will come down by 1/2 inch. This is just to give it that nice, that you don't want it to gape around here. So that is why I'm coming down by 1/2 of an inch. So this is to avoid gaping. Can you see? So can you see? So it just connects nicely, just blend it in. So can you now see what this side looks like? I see that this side is looking like our armhole princess bustier, and you can see that here is giving us the straight bustier effect. I'll come to the shoulder line and mark the width of the neckline I'm going to be using, and here I'm going to be using a neck width of 3 inches. Okay, I'm going to be using a neck width of 3.5 inches. So here I have my 3.5 inches. So I'm going to connect this 3.5 inches to this point where I have, you can see this is our neck depth here. So I'll connect it like this. Can you see? So this side is the part that has the shoulder, and you can see that this side is the side with the off shoulder. I hope you're understanding what I'm doing. You can see that. So now if you want to determine the neck depth, here the neck depth I used in all, that's from the shoulder line to this point, I have about 7¼ inch. So this is just fine. Okay, so that's that. So now for the bust dart that I have here of 1 inch, I'm also going to bring that same 1 inch to this side, because we'll need to close it. That's the difference between the front and the back. So that's our bust dart, okay? So you can see that will be closing this bust dart. So this is what my pattern looks like. So I'm going to bring in my scissors now and cut it out. So I'll start with this side. I have here on this side, And this is what I have here on this side. So can you see what it looks like? So next we're going to go ahead now and close the bust dart. So to close the bust dart, you can see that this is the line here. I'm just going to make sure to hold this line and place it over the bust point line like this. So once you do that, you use your I'll use my masking tape to tape it down. Same thing for the other side. I'll hold my dart like this and place it over the bust point line like this. Okay, so this is it. So once you close your bust dart and you notice any sharpness, you can just come in by like a little, like not even up to 1/8 of an inch. Can you see how I just blended it in? So once you close it, it has a way of creating one small sharpness there. You don't want that kind of sharpness. So all you need to do is just to blend it in, just like I have done, like this. So can you see? So this is the bust line. So you can see how it blends in here. So you can see the darts that we have on this side, and you can see what we have on this side. So you can see our dart intake is straight this way, and this goes to the armhole. So the next thing now we'll be doing, I'm going to tape this down, and then I'll show us how to draft the back. To draft the back piece, I folded my paper into two also. So the first thing I'm going to do now is to draw the starting line, which is the shoulder line. I haven't drawn the shoulder line. So here is the folded part of my paper. So this is the center back. So on this center back line, I'm going to mark half of the shoulder measurement. And then I'll also mark 3 inches here, just like I did for the front. I'll come down by 1 inch from this 8 inches mark I have here, which is the shoulder measurement, and then I'll slant it to the 3 inches here. So now we have our shoulder slant. So the next thing I'll do now is to come down from the shoulder slant here by the armhole measurement, which is 7 inches, 7.5, sorry, 7.5. And I'll also go ahead and reconfirm this 8 inches that I have on the shoulder line. This is to have a straight line. You don't just want to guess and draw crooked lines, okay? I'll now go ahead and square out this line like this. So next I'll go ahead and mark the waistline. The back is really simple. We don't have bust at the back, neither do we have under bust. So I'm just going down straight to the waistline. And the back waistline is 15.5 inches. Remember I said the front waistline is 16.5 inches. The back waistline is 15.5 inches. So that's why I have a bust dart of 1 inch, which is their difference. I hope we understand that. So I'm marking my 15.5 inches here and 15.5 inches here. So I'm just going to straighten the line this way. So here is our chest line, which is also the armhole line. So I'm just going to extend it this way like this. On the chest line here, I'm going to enter 1/4 of the bust measurement, which is 9 inches here. On the waistline, I'm going to enter 1/4 of the waist measurement, which is 7 inches. 7, I'm going to add 1 inch, which is going to be for my dart intake. I'll go ahead and connect the point, that's from the chest line to the waistline now like this. So having done that now, on the waistline, I'm going to enter half of the nipple to nipple measurement, which is 4 inches here. I'll also mark the same 4 inches here on the chest line. And then I'm going to use my straight ruler to connect it to the chest line. But before connecting to the chest line, I will come down by half of an inch. Can you see that? So I'm going to do my dart intake of 1/2 inch on this side and then 1/2 inch on this side. Remember I added 1 inch. So now I'll go ahead and draw my dark legs. And draw the dark legs to this side also. So you can see that we have done our dart intake for the back. So the back is just really simple. So it's just our normal darts for the back. So I'll come here to the armhole line and get the midpoint of the armhole line just like I did for the front. And then I'll go in by half of an inch. So having gone in by half of an inch, I'm going to also bring in my armhole curve. I'm going to connect this point to this point and then to this point. So you just want to place your armhole curve correctly like this and then connect the points. So can you see? So this is the back armhole. The back is just that simple. So to the shoulder line, I mark the neck width of 3.5 inches just like I did for the front. So here is my 3.5 inches. I'm just going to mark it like this for now. Okay? So now this is our back. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut out this back just the way it is like this. Our back, this is what our back looks like. It's just a basic back. I didn't take out zipper bulge, neither did I add zip allowance yet because this back is going to be laced, so I don't need zip allowance on the back here. So if you are going to be attaching a zip, or if you're going to be fixing a zip to the back of your own outfit, please make sure to add your zip allowance. But for this back, it's going to be laced, so I don't need zip allowance. I'm going to be getting rid of my bulge, but I'll come back to that later. So we want to do our back neckline first. So I'll open up my pattern like this, and then I'll bring in the front patterns. So this is what it looks like. So now what this means is this. This is what I'm trying to achieve. You can see that this side, this is the side that has the off shoulder. This side has the off shoulder. And you see, this side has the off shoulder and this side has the shoulder. You want to make sure that you place them correctly. You don't want to come and do this on this side and then this on this side. So now we're assuming that this is the right side of the fabric here. This side that is facing me is the right side of the fabric because I want the off shoulder to be on the left hand side. You can see that. So this is right side facing me. So of course it's going to also be on the left hand side on the back piece. I hope we get that clearly. So now I'm just going to place this like this on top of this. So you can see that having closed my bust dart, you can see that the front and the back are matching up at this point. So if we had not closed this bust dart, they wouldn't have been matching up. So I'm going to come here now and mark this point. The same 5 inches I came down from the shoulder line is the same thing I'm coming down at this point. So I'm not doing anything. I'm just repeating the same thing I did in the front at the back, okay? So I'm going to mark this point like this. And then I'm also going to come here and mark the same neck width, that shoulder width, right? So here I'm marking this point like this. You see that? So this point now, and of course you can see my crease line. So this is my center back line like this. So I'm just going to draw a straight line like this from this point here to connect to this point like this. Can you see that? And then I'll also come back and connect it to this point just like this. Can you see that? So this is what the back looks like. Very, very simple. So I'll go ahead now and cut out the back neckline. I've done this. So remember I said that the back is going to be laced, right? So because my back is going to be laced, from this center back line, I'm going to come in here on the waistline by 2 inches. So that's how wide I want the space at the back to be. So I'll come in by 2 inches here also. So 2 inches on the waistline, 2 inches on the chest line, that's on the neckline area here. I'm just going to connect it like this. Can you see that? So of course now what this means is that you can see that if we have to cut out this part, that means this line, it cannot just be like this. We will have to connect into the shoulder line here. So I'm just going to blend it in, these 2 inches here, to blend into this line. That's I'm just going to connect it like this. Can you see that? So now I'll also bring in my scissors and cut it out. You can see that I have my 2 back pieces. This is the side with the shoulder and this is the off shoulder side. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to draw my dart also here. So I'm just going to measure what I have here after having taken out my 2 inches here. I have from here to here, I have 2 inches. So I'm just going to mark the same 2 inches here. And then to the chest line, to have my chest line. So from the waistline to the chest line, I have about 7 inches. So I'm just going to mark the same 7 inches at this point. And then go ahead and straighten my line. So this is the chest line. And then this is the nipple to nipple line. So I'm just going to mark, take this line all the way up. That's these 2 inches I have here. I'm taking it all the way up. Then I'll go ahead and mark my darts on both sides. Half inch on this side, half inch on this side, just like I have on this side. Then I'll go ahead and connect it this way. So these are my dart legs for this side also. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and close this dart. This is because I do not want to sew a dart. I just want to have my boning line here and then also have a boning line at this point. So I don't want to have a boning line in between this. This is because this side has a shoulder. If I had only here to deal with, I would have also had a boning line on this point. So because I have a shoulder here to deal with, I don't want to have a boning line that will stop this way and then this will go up, because this is not a yoke. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to go ahead now and close my dart. So by closing this dart, this automatically means that the dart has been sewn. Can you see? So I'm just going to close it up this way. I'll repeat the same thing on this side. I'll also close up my dart this way. Can you see that? So I'm going to bring in my masking tape and tape it down. Taping my dart with my sellotape, as you can see. This is what I have. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark where the boning line is going to stop. So you can see that this side that is the off shoulder, this is where it stops. So I'm going to mark exactly this point. I'll place them together like this and mark exactly this point here, because this is where the boning line also, the boning will stop on this side. So at this point here, I'll go in by 1 inch like this. Can you see? So I'll go in by 1 inch like this. Then I'll go ahead and connect it this way. Can you see that? So this is it. So this, I'm going to have a boning on this side because the back is going to be laced. So I'm just going to cut out this part like this. So you can see. So this is what my back pieces looks like. You can see what they look like right now. So next I'm going to have to bring in my front piece. That's the middle piece. So this front piece, remember that we're going to be joining both shoulders together. So you want to make sure that the width of the front shoulder is same as the width of the back shoulder that you're going to be joining it to. So the same 1 inch that I removed from the back is exactly the same thing I will have to remove from the front also. So all I need to do is to place them like this and then mark where this 1 inch is. You can see that. So here is my 1 inch. So you can see that confirming with my tape, I have my 1 inch. So I'm going to connect this line to this V neckline that I have here. So I'm just going to slant it this way. So this is the alteration I'll be doing here in front. So I'm just going to go ahead now and cut it like this. So can you see? So by the time we're stitching them together, you can see that the front and back shoulders are going to match up. So right now, these are my 2 back pieces. And then these are my front pieces. So you can see that our pattern sets are ready. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut exactly what I have here on my fabric. But of course, I'm going to be adding my sewing allowances. As you can see, I've gone ahead to cut my fabric and lining, and I also went ahead to iron my interfacing. I used hasty as my interfacing for both lining and fabric. So this is the front side piece. That's the armhole princess bustier side. You can see that I have 1/2 inch here and I have my 2 inches at the side here. And this is my center piece. You can see I have 1/2 inch round. Can you see? That's what I also have 1/2 inch at the down part here. And then this is my side piece here also. That's the front side piece. I have 1/2 inch here at this point, and I have my 2 inches side seam allowance. And these are my back pieces also. I repeated the same thing. As you can see, I have my 1/2 inch here, I have 1/2 inch here, and then you can see that I have 1/2 inch at the down part. So this is the side with the off shoulder. I did exactly the same thing. I have 1/2 inch here, 1/2 inch here, and I have my 2 inches at the side. So you can see that we have successfully cut all our pieces. So we have come to the end of the cutting part of this video. In my next video, I'm going to show us how to stitch these pieces together. So if you have learned something from this video, please make sure to like this video, share this video with your friends, and please do not hesitate to hit on the subscribe button and make sure to put on your notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.